Hello everyone, I'm Andongnya, a sophomore majoring in English language and literature, and I'm about to give you a presentation of naturalism in the theater by Emile Zola. Without further ado, let me start right away. The reason why I got into Zola's naturalism in the first place is that it seemed interesting that it adopted the scientific approach into the theater. However, the more I researched about it, the more I found that this contains the social context and political intent. With that in mind, I decided to criticize the naturalism with my own view. So firstly, Zola's naturalism belittles the value of other plays for its political hue. Secondly, the scientism at the time is a radical ideology and naturalism follows it. Lastly, the essence of art and literature is suppressed by naturalism. For starters, I believe his naturalism is political. He strongly criticizes all the plays that are arisen before it, such as classic and romantic theater. According to him, they distort reality and lower the sincerity of the theater, putting excessive symbols and idealism ahead. He also claims that these uniformized plays do not express human beings as it is, saying it is way out of social issues. However, I find this as a definite leap of logic, and this is his evident degrading towards them. What we must know is that theaters before the naturalism were showing human lives within their respective formulas. Classic theaters discuss the moral values that people should pursue within the concept of rationality and order, and Romanticism, which emerged thereafter, valued all the human imaginations, fantasies, emotions, and freedom of thoughts, meaning that both could give us catharsis in different forms. Well, I agree with his idea that every literary trend has its period regarding social needs, but these values of non-naturalistic plays do exist and cannot be ignored. And again, this devaluing of him is certainly political, that it represents the suffering of the lower class of his time. Plus, he emphasizes dogma calling for reformation and social justice. The second part I want to point out is that the basis of his naturalism is also another ideology. The periodic background was right after the Industrial Revolution in Europe, so basically people were facing numerous social problems of early capitalism. Amid the circumstance, the one solution that appeared like a silver lining was modern science, led by Darwin's genetics. This inevitable movement was very natural, and they indeed helped dismantle the strict religious doctrines and its side effects that were deeply rooted in Europe at the time. Yet, as it is always the case for the blind faith in any value whatsoever, scientism that only trusts science itself is also dangerous. Moreover, early science was extremely primitive compared to what we have now, and thus had its significant errors. Therefore, the hasty application of it was rather radical that could have led us to a catastrophe. All in all, we need to consider whether was it really that desirable to follow the naturalism which was thoroughly based on this spirit of scientism. The last thing I want to discuss is what is the essence of art after all? As the American Heritage Dictionary specifies, literature is an imaginative or creative writing, etc. It means that literature essentially contains the creation and transformation of reality. Therefore, literature, with the author's distinctive descriptions, arouses sympathy or delight to the readers, and through this, the literary value can be created. Nonetheless, his naturalism, which insists on the display of absolute truth, overlooks these functions of literature, and even more, it could hinder from achieving it. Also, in this fixed frame of naturalism, literature loses its purity by setting the purpose of promoting social change up front. All I'm saying is that at least literature should have different priorities than journalism or some commentary, right? Last but not least, the genre of theater doesn't seem so compatible with the way of naturalism. Unlike novels, plays are limited in stage, props, and actors, so it is hard to reproduce the reality as it is. And since this takes all the fun away, the audiences may not be able to concentrate. Alright, so my personal view about his naturalism ends up here, and here are the conclusions. First, I wanted to demonstrate that even a solid necessary movement such as naturalism has its flaws and problem if we see them from different angles. But regardless of this little criticism of mine, his naturalism had a profound impact on the history of Western literature. And I'm sure there are tons of things I could not catch within my knowledge. But above all, I am just really grateful for having the opportunity to share my thoughts with you. Thank you for listening.